The sun rose over the rolling hills of Meadowbrook Farm, casting a golden glow across the dewy fields. Mia, a beautiful medium-sized Siberian husky with striking blue eyes and a luxurious gray and white coat, bounded out of the farmhouse with unbridled enthusiasm. Her tail wagged furiously, creating a blur of motion as she surveyed her domain. The farm was coming to life, and Mia knew it was time for her daily adventure to begin. With a playful bark, Mia set off towards the chicken coop, her paws barely touching the ground as she ran. The chickens, a colorful assortment of Rhode Island Reds and Leghorns, clucked in alarm as they saw the exuberant husky approaching. Mia's blue eyes sparkled with mischief as she circled the coop, her tongue lolling out in a big, goofy grin. The chickens scattered in a flurry of feathers, much to Mia's delight. Next on Mia's agenda were the goats, a small herd of Alpine and Nubian breeds with their distinctive floppy ears and spiraled horns. As Mia approached, her gray and white fur gleaming in the morning light, the goats bleated in recognition. They had played this game before. Mia barked playfully, darting between the goats' legs and encouraging them to join in her fun. The goats, unable to resist, began to prance and leap, their hooves kicking up tufts of grass. The sheep pasture was Mia's next destination. The fluffy merino sheep, with their curly white wool, watched warily as the energetic husky bounded towards them. Mia's blue eyes were alight with joy as she weaved through the flock, her gray and white coat a stark contrast against the sea of white wool. The sheep, initially hesitant, soon caught Mia's infectious enthusiasm and began to trot alongside her, creating a whimsical parade across the pasture. As the morning progressed, Mia made her way to the cow pasture. The large Holstein cows, with their distinctive black and white patches, stood placidly chewing their cud. Undeterred by their size, Mia approached with her tail held high. She began to bounce around their legs, her gray and white fur a blur of motion. Mia barked enthusiastically, her blue eyes fixed on the cows' faces as she tried to entice them into a game of chase. "Come on, girls," Mia seemed to say with each spirited bark. "Let's have some fun." The cows, amused by the husky's antics, swished their tails and watched as Mia continued her playful dance. Though they didn't join in the chase, their gentle moos of acknowledgement were enough to keep Mia's tail wagging with delight. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, Mia felt the heat of the day beginning to set in. Her pink tongue lolled out further as she panted, her gray and white coat now slightly damp with exertion. With a final bark of farewell to the cows, Mia trotted off towards her favorite part of the farm, the reservoir. The reservoir was a sparkling oasis nestled between two gentle slopes. Its clear blue waters reflected the sky above, creating a mirror-like surface that beckoned to Mia. Without hesitation, the husky bounded towards the water's edge, her paws kicking up small pebbles as she ran. With a joyful leap, Mia plunged into the cool water, creating a splash that sent ripples across the entire reservoir. Mia paddled around with glee, her blue eyes shining with contentment as the water cooled her fur. She ducked her head under the surface, blowing bubbles and chasing small fish that darted away from her playful advances. The husky's gray and white coat glistened as she emerged, shaking off excess water in a spectacular spray. Refreshed and reinvigorated, Mia clambered out of the reservoir. She shook herself once more, her fur puffing out comically, before setting off on the second part of her daily adventure. The farm stretched out before her, a playground of endless possibilities, and Mia's tail wagged with anticipation of what was to come. As Mia trotted along the well-worn path back to the farmyard, she encountered Farmer John, a kindly man in his 60s with weathered hands and a sun-beaten face. His blue overalls were covered in hay, and his gray hair peeked out from beneath a worn baseball cap. "Well, hello there, Mia," he called out, a warm smile crinkling the corners of his eyes. "Been for your morning swim, I see." Mia barked happily in response, her tail wagging so hard it seemed her whole body might take flight. Farmer John chuckled and bent down to ruffle her still damp fur. "You're a good girl, Mia," he said affectionately. Don't know what we'd do without you keeping all the animals in line." Mia's blue eyes sparkled with pride at the praise, and she gave Farmer John's hand an appreciative lick. With a final pat on the head, Farmer John continued on his way to tend to the crops, and Mia resumed her patrol of the farm. She visited the pig pen, where the portly pink inhabitants grunted a greeting, and then made her way to the horse stables. The magnificent bay and chestnut horses nickered softly as Mia trotted past, her gray and white coat now dry and fluffy in the afternoon sun. As the day began to wind down, Mia found a comfortable spot on the porch of the farmhouse. She settled down with a contented sigh, her blue eyes surveying the farm she called home. The chickens clucked softly as they returned to their coop, the sheep and goats grazed peacefully in their pastures, and the cows lowed gently in the distance. Mia's tail thumped happily against the wooden boards of the porch. Another perfect day on the farm had come to an end, and Mia couldn't wait to do it all again tomorrow. For this beautiful Siberian Husky, every day was truly the best day of her life.